The ESPN hype machine is at it again with yet another fake quarterback controversy, this time involving the Washington Redskins. Kirk Cousins has been named the starter versus the Atlanta Falcons this Sunday in the Georgia Dome. This comes to no surprise because earlier in the week, head coach Mike Shanahan announced he was contemplating benching RG3 for the rest of the season. Not benching him, but just sitting him so he can have a full off season and they don't risk a meaningless injury happening in meaningless games in the last 3 weeks of the season. Now, I think this is yet another Washington dumb decision. I don't agree with it, but I believe it's sincere. I believe that Dan Snyder and Coach Shanahan have this strategy and are in cahoots, yet ESPN wants to make it seem as if the coach is just trying to get himself fired. And maybe so. Maybe he doesn't want to return. He knows he can't collect the $7 million next year if he resigns, so there may be some truth in Shanahan wanting out. However, that's more of a financial decision based on the $7 million. He's not trying to get himself fired because Kirk Cousins has as good a chance as anybody, especially more than an injured starting quarterback, to tear apart that Atlanta Falcons defense. And then he starts looking like a genius if he wins with the backup quarterback. So he's not going to get himself fired by playing Kirk Cousins, a guy who could probably start for a lot of teams in the NFL. If, they start taking a knee in the first quarter, then I'll think otherwise. Mike Shanahan's got pride. He doesn't want to get fired. He didn't like getting fired in Denver. And that's not what's happening. What is happening is the Washington Redskins taking Robert Griffin III off the field instead of letting him continue to bond and grow with the team as it is, because next year could be special if they played well in these next 3 games. I remember back in 1999, the Eagles were eliminated from playoff contention. They kept playing Donovan McNabb. In fact, they didn't bring him in for Peterson until the Eagles were, for all intents and purposes, out of the picture. He learned to be a quarterback. He had an off season. And then, of course, the next year, the Eagles' playoff run started with Andy Reid and Donovan McNabb. The Redskins, I think, are setting themselves back if they take RG3 out of this game. But it's not for the reasons that ESPN will have you believe. And I'm going to make a prediction right here that both Coach Shanahan and his son are back coaching RG3 next year. It's not a power move. They're not trying to put RG3 in his place because he announced that he was going to be back for week 1, although that might have been an ill-advised comment. All this is they're protecting their investment. This is a business, the NFL, and it's all about money. They have a lot of, not just money, but draft picks invested in RG3, and they're hoping that Kirk Cousins can bring some of those draft picks back and have trade value if he does light it up in the next 3 games. So they're not going to worry about everybody speculating as to who should be the quarterback, because just like in Philadelphia, in Washington, there is no quarterback controversy. For better or for worse, the 2014 quarterback of the Washington Redskins is Robert Griffin III. And Kirk Cousins will have a successful career, and I believe it will start in Atlanta on Sunday.